Hey guys, how's everybody doing today? I want to talk about something a little bit different today, something that you've not seen me talk about before, and that is a device that I'm going to be creating in collaboration with Terry Dayton over at D-Lab. So those of you that have come over here from D-Lab, you know that Terry's created something called the Dummy Head, which is a dummy load resistor box, which is useful for when you're working on amplifiers and even radios. Terry indicated that he's just way too busy and can't produce them, so I've decided I'm going to take that on. So Terry and I have spoken. We're going to make sure that it's built to the same quality standards that Terry would do, and I'm going to make them available. I've already created the production first run of these things. I'm going to walk you through it, and at the end of this we'll talk about how you get one. Here's what it looks like. It's called the Dummy Head. And you'll see it's selectable between 8, 16, and 4 ohms. You've got a BNC connector here which allows you to connect to an oscilloscope so you can watch the output, and then you've got your input here which goes to the back of your amp. It's a very simple device. It's really made well. I want to go over what components I'm using and why it's made well. So let's dive into that and we'll see where we go from there. Alright, let's start with the main components, the resistors. Most important part of the unit, right? These are Dale resistors. These are quality 1% 4 ohm resistors. This is what we use. We use 4 of them in each device, and that allows us to get the 4, 8, and 16 ohms. So we're using quality. We're not using the crap made in China. We're using some really good resistors. For our selector switch, we're using a Radio Shack. It's an R13-8, and you'll see here that it's a 10 amp 125 volt switch. And the reason why we're going with these is because they're made really well. They're solid. They'll last a really long time. We could use a cheaper Chinese switch, but it probably wouldn't last. This is a quality switch. That's what's made inside. For our speaker connection, we're using Switchcraft 1/4 inch mono number 11 jacks. This is the standard. This is really good stuff. Again, it's not the cheap Chinese stuff. This is made really well. It'll last a really long time, and you'll get some really good use out of it. And then we're using an Amphenol BNC connector to connect to the oscilloscope. So let's explore and take a look at one of these things that are built and see what it looks like inside. Okay, here's a unit that I've built. And you'll see here that we have our switch that we've discussed, our jack, and our BNC connector. Let's take a look inside. I've actually built this for someone, and I'm going to be shipping this thing out, but I want to show it to you before we do that. So here we are on the inside, and you'll see here we have our 4 resistors laid out against this metal plate. That will help dissipate any heat. Here's our switch. Here's our input jack. This is our Switchcraft. This is our BNC connector, and we have a resistor here. It's hand wired, solid core wire, very neat, very durable. This thing will work really well. You can see the switch, solid, very solid. And we've got the D-Lab Dummy Head logo. It fits really well into this project box, like so. And there's our device. So, where are we now? Well, I'm in the midst of producing some of these. So let me show you where I am with that. Okay, I'm in the process of building out these 5 units. I can do 5 at a time. I've created a jig that I can use on my drill press to do this. So I've got these all populated with resistors, switches, connections, jacks. I haven't wired them yet. That's going to be the next step. But these 5 are going to be available for anyone that wants one. And then after these 5 are done, I'll probably make another 15 or so, and then we'll see if I need more. Main thing you have to remember on these things is you'd never leave them connected for a long period of time. They're 50 watt resistors, right? So they can handle a lot of power. But if you're going to leave this thing connected for long extended periods of time, those resistors are going to get hot, and this box is going to melt. So the thing I have to say about that is, when you get this box, if you get one, you're responsible for how you use it. So it's meant to be used the way it's designed, which is to do testing of an amplifier or radio. And I'm actually going to do a demonstration for you and show you how you use it so that you understand that clearly. But that's where we are. So let's take a moment here and do a demo, show you how it works, and then we can discuss if any of you want any of these. All right? Okay, to prepare for a test, the test equipment you need are an oscilloscope if you choose. And we have a simple BNC coax connected to the first channel. And we're going to take this and we're going to connect it to the port on the dummy load box. Next thing we need is an audio generator. This is going to give us our waveform that we're going to put into the amplifier, which will then come out of the amplifier, go into the dummy load box, and be displayed on the scope. So our audio generator, we want to run at about 800 hertz. So I've got 80 times 10, 800 hertz. We're not going to turn it on yet. This gets connected to the amplifier with a 1/4-inch jack. Okay, here's the amplifier we're going to use for this test, and here's the input. So we're going to take this jack from our audio generator and plug that right into the input. And the last step of this process is, and this is the most important step, is we have to run a wire from our amplifier to the dummy head. Before we do that, we have to note what is the ohm rating for the amplifier. So you'll see here, this is minimum 4 ohms, which means if we connect a wire from here to the dummy head and use the 4 ohm setting, we're going to be in good shape. It's really important to pay attention to the ohm setting on the amp. So let's connect our wire here, and then we'll go connect on the dummy head. Now that that's connected to the dummy head, we're going to set this to 4 ohms, which is all the way up, like so. Okay? So what's left to do now is power up our amp, which we're going to do. Audio generator is on. Let's raise the gain up and take a look at our oscilloscope. You can see we have a nice sine wave there. It's clean. There's no noise. It's working perfectly. If we change the frequency on the audio generator to 700 hertz, 600 hertz, 500 hertz, you'll see it spreads out back to 800. If we raise the gain, it goes more, less. We can adjust. We could do the same thing on the amplifier. We could raise the level, and we also get some fluctuation. This is a good test right here. You wouldn't want to go longer than this unless you were troubleshooting something. But this is a great demonstration of how the dummy head works. We're hearing a frequency without having to hear it. It goes right through the dummy load box, and we don't have to hear that annoying pitch. So I hope this demo has helped you. That's what the dummy load is all about. Let's talk about how you get one. Okay, so if you want one of these, contact me at the email address that you see above. If you're in the 48 contiguous United States, the price will include shipping. If you're outside the United States, then there'll be an additional charge for shipping outside the US. Anyway, there's my email address on top. Let me know if you're interested, if you have any questions. Thanks, everybody.